Okay. And so let me start by introducing myself. That way you get who is this strange person that we've never met before? So again, my name is Maureen Spellman. I'm a professor in the School of Education here at School of Education and Health Sciences. This is my seventh year at North Central College. Prior to that, I spent 19 years at St. Xavier University on the south side of Chicago. Since coming to North Central, I primarily teach in the graduate program. So I teach people who are in the educational leadership program, which means they are working professionals, they're teachers, they're maybe school counselors, social workers, etc. And they've coming back for a master's degree to become a school leader, a principal, an assistant principal, a dean, a chair, that kind of thing. So that's why I haven't really gotten to know very many undergrads because most of the time I teach in that graduate program. I've been in education a long time, former teacher, former principal, former administrator at St. Xavier University. And what else do you want to know about me? Been around a long time. I have three grown kids, been married forever, and I really love what I do. So, how about if you introduce yourself, Sammy, and we'll kind of go around.
Yes. Hello. My name is Sammy Leon. I am a senior at North Central College. I am majoring in education studies. Initially, I started to be originally going to be an elementary education teacher with a minor in English language learning. I did that for the first 2 years of college, and then around junior year or summer of sophomore year, I felt like when I looked at the spring of junior year when I saw um the uh the amount of hours I had to take for both field experience for my major and then field experience for my minor. I felt like that was a little bit too much for me, so I decided to drop that. And then instead, I changed into I decided to go into middle school math for a year or so. Did remaining class I needed to do, and then I passed both content tests over the summer. But then around senior or summer of junior year, before going to senior year, I had to really think about my progress in field experience, and it was pretty. It got to a point where I just felt like I'm not ready to teach as of now. That can always change in the future if I ever go back into doing teaching. But I don't think as of now it would be a good idea. And so I kind of took my previous experience working at the YMCA this past summer, and I felt like, okay, I feel like something of this nature could work as my part of my internship working in third spaces. And so, as of right now, I am currently in a position of um, I applied for the AmeriCorps assistant, program assistant position. Through the Boys and Girls Club of North Central Illinois. And I am currently just kind of a bit of a staff member, mainly supervising and teaching kids, kind of through an after school program about anything that's important that we want to do with them. Usually we have some programs planned, but we also do recess, snack time, homework help if that's necessary at all, and other things. So.
Great. Well, thank you. That was very thorough. Brings me right up to date. Okay. Dean, how about you?
Sure. Hello everyone. My name is Dean. I am a double major, educational studies and history. And I love that. I'm currently interning at our very own Osterly Library, in the technical services department. Um, and let's see, I see myself going into like working in libraries, university libraries. Um, So in the future, I think that's where I want to work. So I've already applied to grad school. Um, and I'm super excited for that and also super nervous because I still haven't heard back from the schools. So just waiting on that. So that's where I am right now.
What schools have you applied to?
The University of Illinois and the University of Iowa.
Okay. Well, fingers crossed. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Ruby, what's your story?
So I started off my um whole like college career majoring as an elementary ed major. And I truly did love that, and I got to do a lot of hours with like field experience and stuff, and I've been working like in after school programs, summer camps, or like with like the field experience too. So I got a lot of experience with the elementary kids, and I did really like it. But I just recently, and like this was like a whole switch, like probably like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. And I started, my mom has a lot of friends that have like their own like in-home daycare, like learning centers. And like they've had them my whole life. I just, it never really interested me. But I started going a few months ago just to like go help out and like go see their setup and stuff. And I really like just fell in love with it. And at the same time, there was a lot of things with like my schedule conflicting for me to be able to graduate as an elementary ed major. And so it was kind of like a decision that I had to take whether I should go like the daycare route because I really loved that and like being in the own like comfort of my own home and stuff and just seeing how it worked out for all of my mom's friends pretty well. And so I thought a lot about it and it really made me excited to do that. And I talked with like my family and a lot of like my close friends and stuff, and everybody was very like they were pretty supportive, and they like that idea more of like me going into the elementary schools because like I said, I had been in the elementary schools for years, but I felt like that love that I had for it in the beginning was kind of like getting washed away within the years. So I kind of it felt really refreshing being with like early childhood and the whole like daycare scene. So I really liked that.
So your internship is going to be at a daycare center?
Yes.
Okay. Is that nearby in your Naperville or?
No, it's more towards my area. So I live like in Yorkville.
Okay.
So yeah, it's more towards over here.
Okay. Well, that should be interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, JC. I'm sorry we started a little bit ahead of you coming. And just to let
That's
you know,
okay.
we are recording this because I wanted to make sure that if anything that we talk about, especially in terms of the details of the class, that I'll send you a link afterwards so that you can actually
Okay.
watch
I
that.
apologize for being a little bit late. I will mark it in the calendar so that it doesn't happen again.
No
Um,
problem. No problem.
Basically, I was a special education major for 3 to 4 years first, actually just until this past semester, but then I realized before student teaching that maybe this was not the right thing for me because it just became too overwhelming to manage like all the paperwork and like the IEP type things, but I still do want to work with students with disabilities or like individuals with disabilities. So right now I'm doing an internship with Association for Individual Development, which is an organization that helps uh, in, individuals with disabilities get access to support services that they need.
Well, it's very important work. Very important work. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm really looking forward to learning from you, learning about what you're doing, learning about the opportunities that are out there in your third spaces that you're working at. Um, the full disclosure, I was asked to take this internship on around December 15th. So it was kind of a surprise, but actually it was something that I was excited about because when I was at St. Xavier, vast majority of my work, 95% of my work was with undergrad students, and I do miss working with undergrads. So I did jump in. Dr. King had asked me if I would design this course in a way that it fulfills the requirements that you have for career readiness and all of those gen ed requirements. So I was working over the entire break putting together this course. And that's why when I sent you the syllabus, I said it's tentative because I wasn't sure if everybody was going to approve everything over the break. You know, it's hard when people are not in on campus. It seems like everything is fine. The only hitch that we came into was getting the Canvas course, and I think I'm not quite sure how it operates, but something that the registrar people were saying was that people had to be registered for the people had to turn in their internship paperwork before they would then create the course. So it was not there yesterday, not last night, but it is there this morning. So I will be working on that today and tomorrow and get that open for you. I have everything ready. I didn't have the Canvas shell to put anything into. So I'm really glad that I did send you that syllabus ahead of time. So one of the things I'd like to do just to kind of get us started and just kind of set the tone and the norms for how we're going to be, talking and working together. What I'd like to do is, let's see if I can find the chat here. I'm going to drop a link into the chat. And just as kind of a warm-up activity, I'm going to ask you to go to this link. It's a very short little warm-up activity to kind of set the tone. And so what you can do is just take a minute to go to this link and fill out this form, just 4 quick questions. But take about, 5, 6 minutes and answer those questions for me. And you can just kind of give me a thumbs up when you're finished. Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Thank you. I'll enjoy reading those later on. So what I'd like to do for this particular, 40 or 50 minutes that we've got left, I want to talk about the syllabus. I want to walk through it and see what questions you have, see where you might, hopefully you've had time to read it, look through, and if you've got any questions, we'll go section by section. As I mentioned, I can't do anything with Canvas because it just came in this morning, but I'll have that ready for you, definitely within a day or two. And talk about the one-to-one appointments that we're going to have and then any other general questions that you might have. So I'm going to share my screen and just bring up the syllabus. Um, okay. So are you able to see just the syllabus? Okay. All right. Sometimes there's so many things on my screen, I can't tell what you can see and you can't see. So just basically in this first section, there's not a lot of pertinent information. I do want you to take down my cell phone number because I think sometimes if you can't, if you send me an email and I'm in meetings or if I'm teaching, especially because I teach a lot in the evenings with the graduate program, you're always welcome to text or call and leave a voicemail message if you've got a question and I can get back to you. My phone in the stadium does not work. We've been working on it for 6 months now. There's something wrong with the hookup over there, so I don't even put that number on here. You're always welcome to email me. I'm really pretty good with email, but as I said, I do serve on a lot of committees at North Central, and I do teach grad students at night. So my days are a little bit different than your normal undergrad professor. So I don't mind at all. You can always text if you've got a question that I haven't answered you within a reasonable amount of time, and I'm happy to chat with you. So we're going to have 10 times that we meet like we are now, synchronously on Zoom, and I'll have all that set up for you on Canvas with all the links and everything that you need to know. And then 5 of the different weeks, there'll be other projects and things you'll be working on. You'll be doing things, we call it asynchronously, right? You'll be doing some going to the writing center or going to the career center, things like that, and working on the projects that you have. But also on those asynchronous weeks, which there'll be 5 of them, I will actually reach out to each of you and we'll meet one-on-one on Zoom or on campus if I'm on campus when you're around there. But probably Zoom is faster and easier for everyone, just to kind of make sure that, I can support you, make sure that I can help you. You can fill me in on what's happening at your internship, and we can talk about any questions you have about the course. So you'll probably be very tired of seeing my face on Zoom by the time this class is over. I'm going to trust that you can read through all of the competencies and all of the requirements because I think you know all of this. I'm sure what you want to look at, first of all, are the assignments. So the first obvious thing, obviously, it's going to be very important that I meet with you each week. That's part of the requirements for this 15-week internship. So that's why when we meet, it's going to be important for you to be with us and have conversations and talk. We're just going to meet for an hour from 9 to 10 on Wednesday mornings on those ones that we do. So one of the first things that I want you to do is to do an interview at your site. Um, And this is something I studied what they do in all the other career readiness courses and the career experiential courses. And so I've incorporated some of the things that they had there, but I've kind of adapted them for us. So when we're talking about an interview, it's really just kind of a way for you to get a feel for people that are working in the field that you are thinking about. And I think that always is something that even with my grad students, I do this because I think it's really important to interview someone where you're working one-on-one, get a little conversation going with them and letting them know this is an assignment that you have to do an interview. But I think it makes you set aside some time to really get to know someone who's in that job and get insights from the real, boots on the ground type of thing. So you can do it in person, on phone, or on video conference, Zoom, or whatever, everything like that. The only thing is that I ask you to record it for me. So if you're going to interview them on Zoom, record that. Sometimes it's easier if you're there during your internship that people are busy, but you could arrange a time when you're not actually there that you could just Zoom in with them and do that. Or just record it on your phone or whatever. You don't have to transcribe it or anything like that. But what I have here is like really five major points that you want to do. You want to make sure that you have a description of that person and the organization, kind of a general, give me the context. Where are you? What are you doing? Who is this person? How are they connected there? Some sort of a recording of the interview. It doesn't have to be long, it can be a short interview. What are some of the things that you took away from it? What are the insights that you really learned? Some kind of evidence for me, whether it's an email or a copy of, it's a photograph of a note that you send, but making sure that you follow up with a thank you. And then a little bit of a reflection that talks about, what did you learn from this that's kind of influencing you and helping you to set some career goals. I have very specific rubrics. So you can see the rubrics are embedded right here into the syllabus for that. So you have a clear idea of how to do that. One of the things I need that you need to know about me is that I'm more concerned about your learning than I am about your grade, but I know you're also concerned about your grade. So when you submit an assignment to me, if you don't get full points on the rubric, I will give you feedback, thorough feedback on each of the sections. And if you want to redo any section, all you have to do is email me and say, Dr. Spellman, I realized what I missed in this area. Can I redo that section and regain the points? So you can always revise and resubmit. Does that make sense? You just have to let me know that you want to do that. This career toolkit is really important, and this is something that all of the readiness courses embed. And I think this is something that's very practical. Again, the interview is practical because it starts to give you more deep insights that you may not have had time to do just when you're there. But when you do the career toolkit, you're actually going to write your resume, you're going to design cover letters, and you're going to establish your digital profile, whether that's going to be on Handshake or it's going to be on LinkedIn, things like that. So I broke that up. It is a 50 point as well as all of your assignments are 50 points, but I broke this one into three parts. So for the resume, there's a rubric that's just designed for the resume. There's a rubric that's designed just for the cover letter. And then there's a rubric just for setting up your digital profile, what that looks like. So you're going to be, obviously submitting links to these things or copies of these things. One of the things I want you to remember is that with the resume and the cover letter, especially, you have all the resources at the Writing and Speaking Center. I've got materials from them that I'm going to post in our Canvas course, and I've also actually reached out to them and asked if one of their people could come and speak during one of our synchronous class meetings. So I'm waiting to hear responses from people about when they might be able to do that. I also want you to be able to make sure that you will go to the Writing Center and go to, the Speaking Center and meet with someone there and get some advice. So on the weeks that we're off, that's the time that you can go there on your own and just kind of get that experience. If you've got questions on any of these as we're going along, please go ahead and let me, just unmute yourself and jump in. Otherwise, I'm just babbling away here. So the community-based project is something is going to be really interesting because this will be very unique to where you are. So you have to take a look and, take some time getting to know people at your internship site and figure out what's something they need, right? What's kind of a need that could be helped, that you could actually create. And so this is going to be your project, and you're going to do it according to the SMART model, right? You could do something like developing some marketing materials for them. You could, if they want you to conduct interviews or conduct surveys, or if they want you to analyze some of the data there, they want to organize an event or create materials for them, anything like that, as long as it's something that's really connected to your internship site. And so you have, the rubric is talking about, identifying the needs, designing the project, making sure it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And, also demonstrating that you have the initiative, that you are really putting this together in a professional way and applying, the kinds of things that and then reflecting on what you've learned. So this is, again, something that will be a benefit to you, but also will be a benefit to the community that's hosting you. And then the last one is the performance review. And this is really just kind of a reflection on this whole experience because you're going to have, 15 weeks of boots on the ground and some kind of a very, very rich experience. So this is, you're going to reflect on what we've talked about in class. You're going to reflect on the meetings we've had one-to-one, the synchronous class meetings, the internship experiences, and just kind of identify for yourself where you see that you now have strengths that you can build on, and where are your growing edges moving forward now into a professional career. So again, reflection on your self-awareness, how you get some concrete examples of what you've learned, reflection on the feedback perhaps that you get from me, from your site supervisor, from your peers, talking about, what you think you've learned in terms of communication and initiative and, just where you think you've grown over 15 weeks. And then, you're not finished learning, right? So setting goals for now moving out into the professional world. You also have the internship log. I did send you each a link to that. It's a Google form. I thought that would be the easiest way for you to do that. You just have to go in each week, add your information. But I know that Dr. Shaw had asked each of you to locate some articles or books that were related to the context of your site. So that's a place where if you've been doing some reading that week, you would talk about it there. So I think the internship log needs to be turned in weekly, and then I have access. All you'll do in Canvas is submit a link to it, and then I will be reading them weekly for you. So all of those things add up to 500 points. Okay, we've got your internship log, you've got your class attendance, and then you've got the 4 major assignments. So I'm going to pause there and ask, what questions do you have about that?
I do want to ask about the internship field log because I looked into it briefly just to see what it looks like. And so uh, whenever I like look into just the questions or whatever for week one, all that kind of expands into the other weeks. And so would be like submit like say we finish week one of internship stuff. We would then only like submit the information from week one, both the general information about the site and we're working at, and then when we do week two, just do the general information again, and then only submit the stuff we did for week two, like the next week.
I think what you do is you just simply submit, each week you're going to add in, right? The information doesn't really repeat. The top part where you're putting in where you're working and the location, that's just done once. And then each of the
Okay.
subsequent ones have like 5 different prompts, how many hours that week, what's the cumulative hours now so far, and then 3 questions that that you'll kind of reflect on. I think if you look at the top there, there's a way there's a section where you can just click on it and it says to share the link. And then all you'll do is when in the assignment in Canvas, you'll put the link into there and then that'll just take me to it. So you don't have to do anything except put the link into Canvas and that'll take me right to your work. And once
Okay.
Canvas is open, next week we'll be able to go through this. Good question though. Anything else?
I have 2 questions. The first question, for our internship logs, is there a certain day or time of the week that we should be turning those in by? Is it just like Friday, or just by the end of the week each week?
Well, I'm assuming your week is going to go Monday through Friday. I don't know if any of you are doing anything on Saturdays, but I'm fine as long as it comes in by Sunday evening. And then so then the next week starts that way, so by this coming Sunday evening. And I understand that this first week your hours may be a little different, things may be a little kind of getting to know things and getting things established. So the hours might be more one week than another depending on how things go. You've got that cumulative number of hours that you have to accumulate, so those are that's the goal, is to kind of document that for everything. Good. Do
Um,
you have another question?
yes, I do. For our cumulative hours, should we just be logging those ourselves, or should our site supervisor be logging those as well?
It's a good question. I don't know if anyone requires that to be logged by the intern. Can I get back to you on that one? Because that's something nobody asked me about or nobody
Yeah, of
explained to
course,
me. So
of course.
I was assuming that submitting it self-report to me was sufficient, but I will double check on that
Okay,
because
thank you.
I actually don't know. Good question. See, I'm going to learn with you.
I'll actually clarify for myself in particular. So because I applied for the AmeriCorps position on my end, I do have to submit like weekly timesheets as well for the position sent over to the director of social work interns, Allison, for me. So I would submit that to stuff to her every single week, and obviously the hours from orientation as well. On my end would also be added, and I'm sure that can count for the cumulative hours I spend for this internship in North Central. And so again, not entirely sure of the full situation, and that's totally fine. But for it's good that context as well.
Okay. Well,
And yeah, can like any of that orientation hours add to the overall hours I'm doing for the internship, or does it be exclusively work at the site?
that's another question that I can't answer. So you're stumping me, but orientation hours, okay. I will find that out when I'm on campus this afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any assumptions since I'm as new to this as you are. Thanks for raising important points, though. Anything else?
I have a question.
Mhm.
So on my internship contract, it's still getting processed. I have to still get Barbara's signature and then take it over to the registrar's office so that it can be fully processed. But on that contract, we have dated that I will officially start the internship on the 13th of this month. But I have been going this week and like I've still been going to the daycare. So would I be able to still do a log for this week, even though it doesn't technically start till the 13th?
Yeah, that's a technicality of the paperwork because just depending on when you get it together. But absolutely, if you've been going this week, you should
Okay.
use those. Yeah,
Okay,
that I can say yes, I know. Okay.
cool.
Anything else? Okay, let me just go to the tentative schedule. And the reason I say tentative here is because I've actually put a couple of places where I've asked for guest speakers. If by any chance those guest speakers aren't available on that day, we might have to switch them to another day. So those are things that I will let you know via email and let you know the updates. What I try to do here, and I try to do this for all my students, is to kind of break it down by week and talk about, what's going to be happening, what's our focus for that week, and if there's anything due. So thank you for pointing out, Dean. But what I'll do is I'll go back in there and when I set up Canvas, I'll put in there that it's due on Sunday evening. So that'll be clarifying that. I didn't really think about doing that on the syllabus. So you can see the thing is where 15 weeks are going to go very quickly. You know this. You've been through semesters at North Central. It starts out, it seems like it's going to be forever, and you're going to blink and it's over. So I try to space out the assignments so that they're kind of in a way that you've got time to work on each of these. So the first one is that informational interview, and I thought that would be the first one. It would be a good one to jump into because you could do that right away. And you can decide. I would hope that you would decide perhaps today who it is at your site you'd like to interview and get that started and get that set up and have that ready to go. And that give yourself time next week and the following week to turn it in. And again, when I give assignments, they're always due on the Sunday evening. So that week three, the informational interview would be due on Sunday at the close of week three. Does that make sense? And again, that will be all apparent when the Canvas site opens up. So I would encourage you to look at the rubric, which is really important. Look at the description of the assignment. Decide how you're going to do it, how you're going to record it. And the reason I want to hear the recording or see the recording is because I want to see how you're handling yourself professionally, right? So that I can give you advice. I can give you feedback. We can work on understanding that you're growing and learning, right? And that this is important. This is the first time you've done something like this. One of the things I tell my students in the grad program when they interview people is it really is very helpful if you set up your set of questions ahead of time. I have them actually do what we call an interview protocol. So a little like, how are you going to open it up? What are you going to say? Thank you so much for interviewing with me. I just need, 20 minutes or so of your time. I'm, curious to know about your role. How did you get here? What is it like? And ask them questions about their role, right? And what they do at the place. And you might even want to ask them about their path to get there. What did you major in, and what did you come here first, or did you work somewhere else? Get to know them and figure out what their background is. So I think if you put your protocol together with your kind of, your introduction, your questions, and then of course a thank you. Then when you're recording it, it's going to come across very professional, right? And you won't be nervous because you'll have your protocol in front of you, and you'll just be able to just make it kind of a conversation. Does that make sense? Okay. If you kind of scroll down, then again, the toolkit is going to be due at the end of week 6. So now we're getting into, middle of February. So that's giving you, some time to work on this. But remember, that's where you're putting together your resume, your cover letter, and you're getting your digital footprint set up, either on LinkedIn or on Handshake or both, whichever. And what I'll give you complete directions in Canvas about what you have to submit for me. But this is something that I think, again, you can start working on this now. The resume you can start putting together now. The whole idea of putting together a cover letter, you've got time. We're going to have somebody from the Writing Center hopefully coming to talk to you about it, but we also have opportunities where you can go to the Writing Center and work on things there. Any questions about the toolkit? Okay. All right. Then the next one that is due, remember we've got spring break, and then we're going all the way to the community-based internship project. And that one I left pretty well towards the end because I think that's something I want you to start thinking about and talking about now in week 1 and week 2, looking for what they might need, and then planning it out, creating it, and implementing it. And then so that's giving you 12 weeks to put, plus spring break, so really 13 weeks to get that together and turned in. And again, that's something that I have, again, in Canvas, you'll see that I'll have a form that you have to fill out. So I approve it before you start. All of those pieces that I have ready to go into Canvas will help you with that. And all that information will be in the sections that I put together. And then obviously the performance review. I purposely left our last week as asynchronous because I think at that time we're going to be, talking one-on-one about things. But as you can see, in here, if you go back to the asynchronous weeks, the Speaking and Writing Center, hopefully I would like you to make appointments there, in week 3, sometime in week 3, so that you can get started on having some guidelines from them about your resume and guidelines with them for your cover letter and things like that. This week here, it's really important that you set up an appointment at the Career Center and make sure that you meet with someone there, and you'll have to just give me evidence that yes, you were there and who you met with and what you discussed. This one is going to be time management. So in this one, you'll probably have like a recorded presentation from me that you'll watch, and maybe something to read that kind of gives you some information about time management. This one in week 12 is something to think about too. That week, I would like you to set up with somebody at your organization a mock interview, as if you were interviewing for a job there. So that's, that might be the person that you interview for your interview. It might be someone else, but I think it gives you the opportunity to seek out someone there that you feel comfortable with and ask them if they would do a mock interview with you so that you'll feel more comfortable when you're going for that in your own, authentic way. And then this last week, I'll have an exercise there where you're kind of going to be brainstorming about 3 possible paths that you might go from here. What are 3 possible ways, your path could lead? And then your performance review. So I tried to make these things all not only items that would meet the career readiness and career experiences, qualifications for gen ed, but they're authentically something that's going to help you moving forward as you make your professional decisions. Any questions about any of that? Again, I apologize that Canvas was not ready because I have a lot of supports that I'll put in there, a lot of information. Each one of those assignments will have a module of its own with rubrics, with, some advice, with some, extra criteria, perhaps whatever is needed, and maybe some resources that will support that. And then each of the assignments, we'll go through all it. I'll have it all built, and you'll be able to look through it over the weekend. And when we meet next week, we'll have time to do that. And go through and make sure what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. And I will get back to you definitely on my notes. I have 3 questions. But I think Ruby, we've been going backwards. I think we've already answered yours. We're going to use your time this week for your log. I'm going to find out if the internship log needs to be co-signed, or if there has to be a log that you keep at your site that maybe you also turn into me. That's something I'm not sure about. And then I'll find out for you. I think it was Sammy that asked about the orientation. Yeah. So I will find out all of those things when I'm on campus in a few hours. So now I'm going to turn it over to you. What are your questions? What are your concerns? Just remember that on those weeks off that we don't meet on Wednesday mornings, I will be meeting with each of you individually. So I'll be reaching out, the week before and saying, give me through 2 or 3 different times. The weeks off are they're sprinkled out for a couple of reasons. I do travel a lot for conferences and presentations, so some of those I'll be out of town, but I can still do the Zoom meetings with you on those. So when I ask you for 2 or 3 different days that week and times that you might be able to get together, then let me know, and then I can start scheduling all of that. So now I'm going to be quiet, and it's your turn. Thoughts, questions?
I'll also bring up too, so in addition to orientation hours that I already submitted for at least my position, my internship separately from this, there will be, at least on my end, professional development days as well, that can get me more hours within the program. Again, whether that stuff applies to this particular internship for North Central, we'll see about that. But there will be like professional development days where I have to attend mandatory developments days where I guess there's some sort of like staff work or just kind of like maybe like staff meetings for just to kind of see how things are going and potential improvements on certain areas. So that definitely is something to also keep in mind. And I know when I spoke with my director about about to do for North Central 400 hours, and already making that conclusion, or already making a conclusion that if I were to work exclusively at the site, um, within roughly 4 hours each week or each day, roughly equating to 20 hours a week, I don't really think that's really sufficient enough to reach that 400-hour minimum requirement that we're looking for. And so I know my director might give me some additional work, asynchronous work outside of that, that her social work interns and psychology interns from North Central College. So you can give that work to me to get more hours in. But whether that applies to this particular internship course, I'm sure you probably would look into that most likely.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, when you're talking about professional development days, so that's outside of your 4 hours a day, that'd be something else that you attend?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
Like
And
when days are when, and now be like during the like especially when students are not in school. Usually like if there's like institute days or holidays like Martin Luther King Day, those are kind of like separate development days that would kind of happen,
okay.
at least on my end.
Yeah, I think if you, send me a little bit of a description of the ones, and I don't see a problem, but again, I will verify all that with Dr. King and Dr. Shaw because I don't want to I don't want to say something that would hurt your progress. But to me, it makes sense, but I will get authority from above to let me know if that's okay. Yeah, because I think if it's 400 hours that you have to accumulate, is that correct? Um, And that, if you divide that by 15, it's like 20, it's over 26 hours a week. So, yeah, yeah.
I have a question.
Hmm.
Um, so just for my reference, like we should be going to the internship every single day, correct?
No, I think it's just a matter of how many
Okay.
hours per week that you can get in. So
Okay.
I don't know they're all very different. But you need to accumulate 400 hours over the 15 weeks. And however that works out, that, if it means going, 4 hours every day, or if it means going 5 or 6 hours, 4 days a week, that's between you and the site where they need you there and where you feel you're getting your best information and your best
Okay.
opportunities. But I don't think I haven't seen anything that says it's X number per day or per week. It's a matter of you have to accumulate. That's why I set up the log that you put how many hours that week and then keep adding it so we have the cumulative record.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm. Other questions? Why am I looking at like deer in the headlights here? I'm sure you'll be very relaxed as we move forward, and I'm sure as things move forward, you'll have more questions too. So don't hesitate to reach out. I will be on campus this afternoon. I have another meeting after this, and then I'm going to head to campus for the afternoon. I think some of you reached out. I'll be in my office no later than noon, and I'll be there till about uh, probably 1:30, quarter to 2, and then I have to go up to IT for a meeting up there. Um, I'm not always on campus. A lot of your undergrad professors are on campus teaching Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, etc. Most of my classes are evening classes. So I'm generally there for meetings, for different committees that I serve on. And then because I teach in the evening, I teach from home. Um, the internet is terrible at the stadium. So we've learned the hard way that when we're teaching at night, it's really wonky. So I come home and I teach in the evening from here, and our classes are from 5 to 8:30 at night. So um, yeah, that's kind of, I'm not there on a regular basis, that you can predict, but you can always ask me, when am I going to be there? I'm always in at least 2 days a week on campus, and I'm always teaching a couple of other nights at home. But you've got my phone number, my cell phone number. It's on the syllabus. So make sure you have that, put that in your phone. And actually, what I would like you to do is send me a text when we're finished talking today so that I can put you in my phone. So when something comes in, I know it's coming from Sammy or Ruby or JC or Dean, that kind of thing. So if you would just take a minute at the end of our conversation and send me a text, I'll put you in my contacts, and that way we'll be able to reach each other whenever we need to. My hope is to be able to come out at least once to your site and see you in action and that kind of thing. So we'll set those up when we're talking at our one-on-ones. But I think that would be really important for me to be able to help you and support you to actually, see where you're at and check in on you and that kind of thing. Not other than just to be there to support you. No big deal. But
I have one final question. What did you say your phone number was again?
it's 708-917-6768. And if you forget that, it's on the syllabus as well. And it will be on Canvas once Canvas is open. And I will send you an email and let you know when Canvas is open because I'm not sure everybody's fully registered yet. Is everybody fully registered for the class yet? Or are some people still turning in paperwork?
I'm still turning in paperwork.
Okay. All right. I'll be able to check that later today. I'll be able to check if the roster is up and, I'll know who's got access and who hasn't. But I think you have to be fully registered. And then the next day you get access to Canvas. So I would urge you to get everything in as much as possible this week so that over the weekend you can access Canvas because it does refurbish overnight. So like if you got everything
Yeah.
in today, you wouldn't have access to Canvas till tomorrow. So somebody somewhere got everything in yesterday because they finally created the course and it came in today. So it's all a little
Uh,
wonky. Yeah.
yeah. I was able to get registered for the course yesterday.
Okay. So that's
So
probably
yeah,
what triggered it.
it's been a bit of a delay on others, but all good. So yeah, I'm registered at least on Maryland right now. So Canvas is not sure for me yet, which is totally fine. But we'll wait
Yeah,
and see
well,
what
I haven't
happens.
published the course, so you will
That's
receive it because I just got it this morning. There's nothing in there. So
fine. Okay. Yeah, sure.
yeah. And then once I get in there, I'll be able to see who's already been uploaded. So if I see somebody's not, my kids will tell you I'm really good at nagging to get that done. Okay. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I think we've done all we can do today. I'm going to get work on that Canvas material and get answers to your questions, and I'll be in touch. Otherwise, have a great day. It's been nice to
Thank you
meet
so
you.
much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Mhm.